You ever get that feeling that the biggest, most important lessons in life actually come from the smallest, most unexpected places? Well, today, we're going on a journey to a tiny planet with a story that has just, completely captivated the world for decades. We're going to dive into the incredible wisdom of the Little Prince and really explore the huge truths he discovered right at the beginning of his amazing cosmic adventure. So, this is the question that's really at the heart of the entire story. It's an invitation, right? To see the universe through a child's eyes, where the tiniest little things often hold the biggest secrets about love and life and, let's be honest, the very strange world of grown-ups. And our story? Well, it begins on a planet exactly like that, a place that's barely bigger than a house. Okay, so our journey begins on the Little Prince's home planet, asteroid B612. And when I say planet, I mean it's a world that's barely bigger than a house. His entire life there is defined by just two things: this incredible deep sense of responsibility and an even deeper, more profound sense of loneliness. Now, the first big lesson we get from his planet is, well, it's pretty surprising. You'd think the biggest threat on a tiny planet would be a monster or an alien invader, right? Nope, it was a plant, the baobabs. See, they start out as these tiny, harmless-looking seeds, but if you leave them alone, their roots can literally split his entire world apart. And wow, what a powerful metaphor for the problems we all face in our own lives. So, to save his world, his most important job was this daily, disciplined routine. I mean, every single morning, he had to carefully inspect his planet and pull out those baobab sprouts. It's such a clear parallel to our own lives, isn't it? It's a reminder to, tend to our own bad habits or those small problems before they get a chance to grow into something that's truly, truly destructive. To really understand the prince's world, you have to understand his sadness. And there's this one number that just says it all: 44. That's how many times he once watched the sunset in a single day. Think about that. On a planet so small, all he had to do was move his chair a few steps to see it set again, and again, and again. It's just this quiet, heartbreaking detail that really shows you the depth of his loneliness before his journey even started. But, it wasn't just the loneliness that finally pushed him to leave his planet. It was something new, a new arrival, a relationship. And let me tell you, it was a very complicated, very demanding, and also incredibly beautiful relationship with a single rose. And this was the prince's big dilemma. The rose absolutely tormented him with her vain words. I mean, constant demands, endless complaints. But at the same time, her quiet deeds, just her simple, beautiful presence and her fragrance, they brought him so much joy. He was just completely torn. He couldn't figure out how to reconcile her words with her actions. It's really the classic tragedy of miscommunication, where insecurity just ends up speaking way louder than love. And her demands? Oh, they were endless. She acted so proud, so manipulative, always exaggerating how fragile she was just to make him feel guilty. She needed a screen to block drafts, a glass globe to protect her at night, and she was terrified of tigers. Tigers! Which, of course, didn't even exist on his tiny little planet. All of her vanity just made him deeply, deeply unhappy. But then, just as he's tidying up his planet for the very last time, getting ready to leave for good, the rose does something completely unexpected. She just drops the act, and she confesses, so vulnerably and so honestly, "Of course I love you." She even apologizes for being so silly and finally shows him her true, selfless affection. But here's the thing, he didn't understand it then. Not really. He was just too young, too focused on her difficult words to see the love that was hidden in her actions, in the way she literally brightened his entire world. And so he leaves. He leaves his planet with such a heavy heart, not yet realizing this absolutely fundamental truth about love. And so his journey begins. He leaves his planet behind and starts visiting others. And for the very first time, he encounters this strange species he calls grown-ups. And what he finds? Well, it's a universe filled with people who are, from his point of view, completely and utterly absurd. His first two stops really give us a perfect snapshot of this absurdity. First, he meets a king who's obsessed with power but has absolutely no one to rule over. Then he meets a conceited man who only lives for applause. For the little prince, who comes from a world of real, tangible responsibilities, these obsessions are, well, they're just baffling. Okay, so first up, he meets the king, Picture this, a man sitting all alone on a tiny planet, draped in these massive royal robes, and he genuinely believes he rules over the entire universe. The stars, the other planets, all of it. He craves authority, but it's an authority that has absolutely zero purpose. So here's the secret to his so-called power, and it's pretty simple actually. To keep up this illusion of control, he only commands things that were gonna happen anyway. Like when the little prince gets tired and is about to yawn, the king orders him to yawn. His entire rule is a complete charade, and it's such a powerful lesson in how meaningless authority can be when it's just for show. Next up, the prince meets this guy, the conceited man, and his entire existence is dedicated to just one thing: being admired. He lives completely alone, yet he's totally convinced he is the handsomest, the richest, and the most intelligent man on his planet. For the simple reason that, well, he's the only one there. His life is just this pointless, isolating loop. Seriously. He asks the prince to clap for him, and when he does, the man tips his hat. And that's it. That's the whole show. He literally can't hear anything but praise, and the little prince, as you can imagine, quickly finds it super boring and totally illogical. It's a perfect symbol of a life completely wasted on vanity. Okay, so after just these first few really strange encounters, what are the key takeaways? I mean, what does this part of the journey start to teach us about our own worlds? Really, it all boils down to these four powerful ideas. First, the baobabs teach us discipline. Deal with your problems when they're small. The rose teaches us to look for love underneath a difficult surface, to judge by actions, not just words. The king shows us just how empty authority is when it's only for its own sake. And the conceited man? He's a warning that a life lived only for the praise of others is probably the loneliest life of all. And that brings us to the final, crucial question the book asks. Not the prince, but us. See, this isn't just a story about a boy on some distant star. It's a mirror held up to our own lives. It leaves us wondering, what are the baobabs you're ignoring on your own planet? What small, dangerous seeds are we all failing to pull up each and every morning?